My name is Lou, and this is my story. I grew up in Nazareth, Texas. I grew up on a farm. My dad was a farmer and a dairy farmer, and I had 3 sisters and 2 brothers. When I graduated high school, my mom and dad moved me to Amarillo to attend a trade school in Amarillo called TSTI. I moved into an apartment with some other girls, and one of the girls was Bernie's sister. One night we all went out partying, and we went to a bar, and Bernie and some of his friends were there. And so we had fun that night. We danced and everything, and then Bernie took me back home to my apartment. And then before he left that night, he leaned over to me and he said, "Lou, give me a kiss." And I said, "What for?" And we laughed, and little did I know that Bernie would become my husband. Bernie and I were getting married on April the 19th, 1974. 3 years later, we started having children. We have 3 sons, they're all married, and we have 7 grandchildren today. After Bernie and I had been married about 15 years, there had been a lot of hurts and wounds and things that happened in our marriage, and we never did take care of them. When our youngest son left home, I realized then that all my kids were gone. I had no fig leaves to hide behind anymore, and that we basically did not have a marriage left at all. I remember sitting out in the garden because I was so desperate. I just didn't know what I was going to do because we absolutely had no marriage left. And I sat out in the garden, and I remember the Lord just saying to me that, "Lou, it's me and you and Bernie now, nobody else." He asked me, "What are you going to do?" And I didn't know what I was going to do. And so I began to read a book from a ministry of John and Stacy Eldridge, and the book was called Sacred Romance. And that book so ministered to me just on the healing power of God and how God wants to walk with us. And so we found out that they were doing a retreat, and so I decided I'm going to it because it was the last straw. It was like I was so desperate for help. And so I started going to their retreats. I always thought God could help me, but I don't know. I thought I could figure out my own marriage. I didn't know God would actually help me with it. And I remember one of the scriptures that they read, and it's in Isaiah 61, that He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted and to proclaim liberty to the captives. And I just remember thinking, I am the brokenhearted. I was captive. My sin had captivated me, and I was just like a prisoner to it. And so this is what the retreats over the years, I had to get rid of the hate. I had to forgive. I had to learn to love Bernie again. And I can remember after the second retreat coming home, and I would stand at the window in my office, and I'd see Bernie driving up the driveway, and I would just say, "Lord, what do you want me to do tonight? How do I take this journey?" And so the Lord would just take me and just lead me each night. And it took a period of 6 years before I began to love Bernie again. So many times in our life we want validation from others, from our mates, maybe from our bosses. And what I mean by validation, we want approval, maybe that you're proud of me, and we always look to another human being maybe for that. And just as I continue on this journey, I so want to hear that from my Father. So in April, I decided to go on another retreat, and at this retreat, one night we were doing just a night of quiet time and praise and worship. And I remember just sitting there and just letting the Father just love me. And I just asked Him, I said, "Lord, I just so desire in my heart to know that you are proud of me." The next morning, we all met in the great room for breakfast. And about 12 ladies, we all sit at a big table together. And this happens all during the weekend, so you get to know different ladies, you introduce yourself. Well, I was sitting there eating that morning, and a lady come up behind me and she said, "Is your name Lou?" The girl she was eating with at the table said, "Oh, that's Lou over there." And so she asked me, she said, "Lou, would you be willing to receive a letter?" And I said, "Well, yes." And so she went back, she got something out of her purse, and she brought this to me. And the amazing thing is, on the letter, my name is spelled right. People spell my name all kinds of ways, but it was spelled correctly. This lady lives in Wilmington, North Carolina, does not know me. I have never met her, but the Lord spoke to her a month before the retreat. And it was this letter was written on March the 5th, 2014. And this is what it says. "Dear Lou, I am sitting in my living room in North Carolina, and I'm sipping my morning coffee, and the Lord brings me your name. I ask him to show me some of his heart for you, and here it is. My beloved Lou, I love you. You are such a wonderful daughter. I love being your father. I have watched you struggle and grow over the years, and I am proud of you. You haven't given up. I created you to be strong, and I love witnessing your strength. Please don't doubt my goodness toward you or your gifts. I place them in you for my pleasure. You have so much to share with others. I love you just the way you are. Your Abba Father."